Hi, I'm Brad Warren. This is Beyond the Event Youth Ministry Podcast presented by Christ in Youth, where we help you maintain momentum between the mountaintops. Today's guest is Tito Lozano. He is the Family Ministries pastor at Lakeshore Christian Church in Smyrna, Tennessee. Tito and I are going to be kicking off our conversation about the intentionality of student-only spaces as opposed to getting students involved in big church, air quotes there for sure. We're going to have a great conversation. Before we dig into that, though, it's story time. Just a reminder that if you have a story you think would make my callous little heart feel anything, humor, joy, you can email that to podcast@ciy.com. I'll read it on the air as written. Today's story comes from Shaylee Bradshaw at Lake Ridge Christian Church in Paris, Illinois. She says, here is a story of a way God moved within our group at Move. During our week at Move, I brought a group of students who have been with me since the beginning of my ministry. They were freshmen when I started and are now entering their senior year. I always knew one was planning to go into ministry as we had talked about colleges and what the future looks like as someone going into ministry. When we were asked to pray over the batons and pick up how many we felt God putting on our heart, I was thinking of this one student, and she was on my mind during that time. My leaders and I spent time praying over this baton, and we're excited for the evening session. Little did we know that God was going to wreck our plans in the best way possible. As I stood up to wait for our students, I had one come up that surprised me, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 came up. The moment I walked over and asked for 5 more batons, I was in utter shock. I knew that God was going to move within our group this week, but never on this scale. That evening, I got to hear our students tell their friends about the decision they made and the passion for serving Jesus. The last day comes around, and I have another student come and ask if I had any more batons. So I asked CIY staff and gave it to the student. This was my 4th year bringing students to Move. And when I was a student at Move, I also made the decision to go into ministry. So this literal passing of the baton was one of the coolest things I have seen God do within our group. Thank you, CIY, for always providing opportunities for students to see Jesus and experience what being his disciple looks like. Thank you, Shaylee Bradshaw. Logan Sperry is here with me today. He's on our church relations team. That's a good story.
It's a great story.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you, Shaylee, for sharing.
Thank you for sharing, sharing Shaylee.
You got through it.
I really didn't know if I was going to.
You got through it.
Good job. Got through it.
You know what I really liked? I just like hearing about all these cities in the state of Illinois that are like French named cities where you pronounce the S.
I'm sorry. Shaylee Bradshaw from Lake Ridge Christian Church in Paris.
Mm-hmm, yep.
Illinois.
Did you know there's also like a Louisville, Illinois?
Yeah.
Spelled the same way as Louisville, Kentucky.
Well, we can't talk because we have a Versailles, Kentucky that as you know, is pronounced Versailles.
It's stupid. I know.
So,
but Louisville does it right.
Louisville does it right, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that's a good story. Logan, You felt the call to go into ministry at a Move, right?
I did, yeah, actually. I went all 5 years that I could to Move as a high school student. My first event was actually a Believe.
Oh,
shout out Believe. Like, oh my gosh. Hey, if you want, no, I'm just kidding. I'm going to start. So if you want Believe back, send an email to podcast@coi.com. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. There are actually people who I still talk to.
Explicitly say, do not do that.
There are still people I talk to who are like, hey, Believe. But my first event actually was a Believe. And then I went to Move all 5 years that I could and made the decision to get baptized at a Move and actually follow Jesus with my life, and then made the decision to go into ministry at a Move, and then came back the year after and had to remake that decision to go into ministry because the first time I was like, was that really the Holy Spirit? And then the second time it was like, yeah, that's really the Holy Spirit making that call in my life. So yeah, I did. And then rest is history.
It's cool to get back to an organization that like changed. I mean, I have the same story where it's like, this place changed my life and now I get to work here.
Yeah.
It's the best thing in the world. Anyway.
Yep.
Logan, you work with a lot of our new churches on our church relations team. You love them really well. Most of the people I feel like who listen to this podcast probably fall more into the like, we've been around CIY for a while kind of thing. So I wanted to ask you this question because I feel like maybe there are times, when I experienced this when I lived in Colorado for a little while, where it's like I live right next to the Rocky Mountains. And they rock. They're so cool. No pun intended.
Yeah. Brad claims 3 states. He's like, awesome. I'm from Florida, Kentucky, and Colorado.
Well, we can do any of them really, because like truly,
and he calls it Florado.
Can I?
Florado.
Who's running this right now? What is going on?
I personally I feel attacked having producer Michael be more a part of what's happening
He's
here.
He's antagonizing me.
He's not, I feel what the interesting thing is, you don't claim Missouri and you've lived here for 8 years. Why is that? Would you like to answer that question for me?
Oof. I claim Missouri.
Anyway, next to the Rocky Mountains, they rock.
What I was saying is the Rocky Mountains are beautiful, but you live in Colorado for a while and you kind of like forget that they're there. So I want to know, you have new churches coming in and you have these churches that have been around a while that they kind of know how CIY goes. They know how Move goes or Mix goes or Superstar goes or an Engage trip goes. When these new churches come in, what is it that they're like pleasantly surprised by that maybe those of us who have been around CIY for a long time, myself included, might be taking for granted,
Yeah, totally. And I say this too as somebody who obviously works for CIY and has gone to a countless number of events now at this point over the years. Yeah. Like, okay, for instance, Superstart, for example, every year, I don't know why. I never know why this gets me, but I always if you've ever attended one of our Superstart events, or if not, I'll explain to you, there's always like a moment in one of the sessions where something goes wrong. And I'm air quoting that for those of you on video. For those of you not on video, I'm air quoting that super hard. There's something that goes wrong. It's a part of it. It's a part of the whole thing. Yeah.
It's like something has to break so that we can all work together to fix it.
Yeah. And we learn a biblical truth from this, right? Yeah. And we share the gospel because of it, or talk about what it means to be a kingdom worker. And it always, without fail, I'm like, oh no, the button stopped working. I'm like, it's broken. What do we? And I one time in St. Louis got up out of my seat. I hadn't seen an event yet. Got up out of my seat and was like, what do we do? Well, and Patrick was like, hey, buddy, you've been here like, I don't know, 40 times. Well, what do you think?
Youth pastors will do this too, because it's like when we were at Indiana 2 years ago, when we were talking about unscripted, the wheel of emotions breaks. Like that's the big thing.
Yeah,
and
I remember.
Ann Wilson came like running back to front of house, the next gen pastor at Traders Point, and was like, what can we do to help get this solved?
and they were like, no, it'll be fine. Yeah, we're going to solve it.
We're on it.
So that is to demonstrate a point of like, I would say like the intentionality that those on our content team take to creating an age intentional event. I feel like me personally, I talk to a lot of people who maybe this is their first time going to a truly age intentional event. It's a big part of what we do. Mm-hmm. Move is clearly high school. Mix is clearly middle school. Superstart is clearly preteen. And so it's like, actually seeing the content play out in that way. And it's like, you really did gear that for my middle school student, or you really did gear that for my preteen student. That, and I think the focus of students being kingdom workers is like, I love that you guys do that. Like, that's what I always feel like I hear from new people is like, I love that my students get to see themselves represented on stage through a video, or maybe an actual moment, an on-stage moment, or whatever that may be in any given year. And that we really like double down on, we want students to see themselves doing real life kingdom work, so that they're like, oh, that is a real thing that I can do in my daily life. And so I feel like those things, maybe if you've been around a while, you like, get used to that. Yeah, you're like, students do this. And for some others, it's like, I love that my students get to see that.
That's cool. Yeah, I love that. Well, we are we're gonna go talk to Tito in a second. We have a new segment on the podcast. It's called Mic'd Up, where producer Michael, gets to talk about anything that he wants.
Oh, I love this.
And we're gonna.
I have been saying for years.
I know.
We need more Michael.
Give the man some
Brad,
time.
Let him cook.
Give him room to breathe. Okay, so before we talk to Tito, let's do Mic'd Up.
Brad did let me cook this week. I cooked dinner for our small group. It didn't turn out the way I had hoped.
Hold on. What'd you make? I have
this is about to turn into a whole thing.
Yeah, it's going to turn into a whole thing. Mic'd Up.
This isn't even what I actually intended on talking about. There's a different thing that I do want to say.
Okay,
You said let him cook, and I just
Okay.
But I made I made what I called counterfeit carbonara.
Whoa!
My family has a tradition. Every Christmas we eat this thing that we call spaghetti and eggs. It's like scrambled eggs with spaghetti noodles, essentially. But like, there's an actual Italian dish called carbonara.
Yeah,
and like the pasta sauce is made from eggs.
Yeah.
And so I did something that was a little bit more of a gussied up version of what spaghetti and eggs is. It ended up not being nearly as tasty as it is
Brad,
when I make it
edible?
myself.
I liked it. Yeah,
it was edible. It just wasn't. I was disappointed. Anyway,
but I don't know.
Really
I don't know what I don't know. I enjoyed my meal, but for somebody who's like had it before, it's like, yeah.
Before I want you to get to what you really want to talk about, Michael. I do have to say, spaghetti and eggs is a wild thing to just hear.
It is.
Hey, my family just eats spaghetti and eggs. I'd be like, hey, I have a lot of questions.
Most people's reaction is that or gross.
Yeah,
but I said at one point, hey, this kind of has like pad thai vibes. Like it had the wide noodles and like the thing or whatever.
Linguine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Pikel said, you're besmirching my Italian food. And I was like, well, it's not even Italian. So
Gregor.
Italian American.
Okay.
Love it.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, I would love to make a couple of album recommendations.
Oh, okay.
Album recommendations.
These are worship albums, okay? Because it's a Christian podcast.
Oh, okay. So not the life of a show.
But a couple episodes ago, I talked about how much I think Oceans deserves some more respect, and Brad and I argued about it for a little bit.
Like the song Oceans?
The song Oceans. Yes, not the Seven Seas.
Love it.
But Oceans by Hillsong United.
Got this guy.
Yeah.
Hillsong United.
Everyone but you, Brad. That's how it's gone.
You
so
didn't
far.
like. Were you like at the time?
He was like,
were you
at the time I loved it. Yeah. But I just think
but like now you've turned on it?
We murdered it. Mm-hmm. We just beat it to a pulp. It's no longer banger status for me because it's just like we don't need to do that whole thing
if you want to hear a more fleshed out version of this conversation, you can go to season 5, episode 1. Listen to it there. Anyway, 2 albums I would love to recommend because in talking about Oceans and like songs that deserve a comeback, in my opinion, there's an album that was sent to me earlier this year. Apparently, it came out on my birthday.
Oh,
as
happy
I was
birthday,
pulling it up.
Pikel.
This album is called Foundations by an artist called Worship Circle, which is really more of like a collective artist or whatever.
Okay.
And it's a bunch of like worship leaders that all like you've probably like heard of them if you pay very much attention to mostly like the bigger churches that put out albums. This album is made up of more sort of contemporized, if I can say that, if that makes sense, stripped down versions of classic contemporary worship music. Okay. Let me read a few of the songs that you'll find in this album.
I'm going to be singing here in a minute.
The opening track is Open the Eyes of My Heart.
Yes.
Yeah. Good one.
Featuring Paul Baloche. I think that's how you say his name. The second one,
I'm going to go with it.
We're coming out swinging. Okay.
Yeah.
After Open the Eyes of My Heart, we go to Step by Step.
Yeah.
Rich Mullins.
Yeah, 100%. We Fall Down is a little bit later.
Ooh.
Then Your Grace is Enough.
Yeah.
After that.
Hey, in case you're listening and you didn't know.
It is.
His grace is enough.
It is enough. Yeah.
And Chris Tomlin still goes hard in the paint.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just like how Legolas takes one small bite of the limbus bread and it's enough to fill the stomach of a fully grown man. Yeah. His grace is enough.
Yeah, no, I got that. That was Lord of the Rings.
Marvelous Light.
I know things.
Featuring Charlie Hall.
Okay.
Yeah, can you believe it? Anyway, go check out.
I'm going to be so honest. I don't know who Charlie Hall is, but
I'm pretty sure he's the guy that
sang
sang
Marvelous,
Marvelous Light the
Yeah.
first time. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I believe you.
Yeah.
Marvelous Light, I'm
Yep.
running.
Anyway,
We did that one when I was in high school.
Go listen to Foundations by Worship Circle. It's a live album. It's a great time. When I've been down in the dumps, and I've been down in some dumps, it's a good album to listen to.
Do you want to talk about that?
No, I'm just saying, it's been a good one to listen to.
Good.
The
Up
second
next
album,
on Mic'd Up, Mike's going to tell us about his dumps.
the dumps that I've been in.
Okay. Hey. Wow. Spaghetti and eggs, everybody.
Dump number 1, Joplin, Missouri. No, that's not true. I love living in Joplin.
Hey, this is actually my home.
He's from here.
When people are like, so like, yeah, you're in Joplin. And I'm like, yeah, I'm from Joplin.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm a person here.
Yeah.
I live here.
Yeah, you're a Joplinite.
Yeah.
As is producer Lauren.
17 years. As is producer Lauren. Webb City High School. Come on, somebody.
It's a joke. I'm not trying to actually dump on Joplin. Anyway, the second album, okay, this one is called This Is My Meditation by an artist called Middlebrook Music. There's a little bit of bias here
Okay.
because I have a brother that was part of this album. It also came out earlier this year. My brother, Steven. He's on staff at a church in Knoxville, Tennessee, Fellowship Christian.
Fellowship Knoxville, shout out.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out.
The road that church is on is Middlebrook. Something.
Oh,
Middlebrook something.
Clever. I like it.
So they released an album earlier this year, and I quite enjoy it. Every song is written from a specific scripture.
I'm here for that.
And there's been plenty of times where I'll be in my own personal devotional time reading in the Psalms or something, and I'll read a line and I'll be like, that is in that one song.
That's where David got it.
Yeah, seriously. Who knew? David, a big Middlebrook fan. Anyway, there's a few songs on here that are big highlights for me. The biggest highlight, written by Stephen Hester, Sufficient.
Shout out.
Go listen to it.
Sufficient.
Sufficient.
Written by Stephen Hester.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible stuff.
Yeah.
I will be listening to those albums, Michael, and maybe next time or an episode in the future, I can report back to you.
Not the next one because there won't be enough time.
No, there will not.
Thank you for that, producer Michael.
I will also say one more little tag on top of that. There are instrumental versions. If you listen to the deluxe album, there are instrumental versions of the songs. I like to listen to those from time to time when I'm doing my own little quiet times. So,
that.
If you're looking for new worship music, check those out.
Honestly, I am.
Yeah, are you an instrumental guy, Brad?
I am an instrumental music guy.
Okay.
I told Michael yesterday that sitting in a dark room and listening to the Interstellar score is my favorite movie. I don't even need the movie.
It's just burned in your brain like Matthew McConaughey hitting on the window.
Yeah.
It's just I don't even need to watch the movie. I just know.
Yeah.
It's just there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, thank you for the music recommendations.
Yeah,
for all of you people out there, go revisit JHB, some Jordan Howerton band.
Wow.
In case. Just give it a listen. I was listening to it the other day.
Still hits.
Shout out Jordan Howerton. Shout out Jordan Howerton band.
Yeah.
Still great worship music.
Do you want to sing us one of the songs?
Move me. No, I can't do it.
He's being silly, but Logan actually has a beautiful voice. Fun fact, everybody. All right. On that note, let's go talk to Tito. Tito Lozano, all the way from Smyrna. Am I saying that right?
Antioch.
Yeah. You're not. You guys aren't in Smyrna?
No, we're in it. We do have a campus in Smyrna.
You have a campus in Smyrna.
Yeah, but we're located in Antioch, which is just 30 minutes down the road. So
okay,
yeah.
but still, I want to know if I'm saying it right. Smyrna.
Yeah, Smyrna. Yes, sir.
Smyrna. Okay. Anyway, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about you guys?
Yeah, good. Is your fall off to a great start at Lakeshore Christian Church?
It is busy, but fun and really good. Actually, it's been a
What does your guys launch into fall programming look like?
We started off with just a family night. Invite all the families, kind of get them a vision of what the plan is for the school year. Give some food because that's how you get anybody to show up to anything is food. So just that, and then we kick off with our with the lesson, with the series and stuff like that. But we normally kick it off with a good old family night and have everybody invite their friends, eat some good food, and set the tone and the vision for the upcoming school year.
So what did you do for dinner for your fall cook-off? I'm just curious. I always wonder what people like cook for a lot of people.
So for the first one, we just did pizza just because it was simple.
Okay, great. Yeah.
But
Classic.
I have it lined up. So like this month we're doing tacos and nachos. Next month, October, is going to be a chili cook-off. I think between both campuses, our Smyrna campus and Antioch campus, we'll have just a big old chili cook-off and do some prizes. Have some fun with it. Still setting that one up. November is my favorite big old Thanksgiving meal. And then in December, we just do PJs and breakfast kind of thing. So,
heck yeah.
Yeah.
So the church that Logan and I and Michael go to, and producer Lauren off camera, they do, wow, we all go to CCO in here. That's crazy. They do dinner every Wednesday night before youth group, and they have about 5 things that they rotate between. And when I tell you that, like, the amount of excitement that I have to go to youth group on any given night depends on what they are serving.
Yeah, what's your least favorite?
So my least favorite, this is controversial. My least favorite is the taquitos.
Oh no, that's not controversial.
The
No.
Wednesday night.
That's not controversial?
No, it's not controversial for all of you out there. Hey, for Tyler Bate, if you're listening,
This just according to Lauren Bryan, they changed them.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Well, then I may have to revise my power rankings. But my favorite is
I had them last week. They're still
chicken,
not my favorite.
the chicken sandwich.
That's your
I
favorite.
don't know. I love the chicken sandwich.
Here's the deal: tacos and nachos, Tito. That's what I want.
Well, we don't do that.
Yeah.
No, I know.
But that's what I'm saying is we like are always on a rotation.
And
so
I'm telling you that Tito's got to figure it out.
he's got to figure it out,
So
man.
do you guys just cater it, or is it family participation? Kind of, how do you guys do that?
There's like a volunteer team that
Yeah,
makes it all. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So
pulled pork rocks.
anyway, that's
So-
not what any of us came here to talk about.
The taquitos are the Sunday taquitos now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So don't go to church on that Sunday.
I have a feeling that
Just
the
kidding.
listeners are getting very bored with the taquito talk, but it is
All right.
self-indulgent and it's great. Well, Tito, no, the taquitos were different on Sunday than they were on Wednesdays, but now they're the same.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about something better.
It matters a lot to us.
You know what's better than taquitos? Jesus.
You're
and-
getting so good at your transitions.
Yeah, thank you. So Tito, we tossed out a question to you, said, hey, which do you feel like is more important for the place your ministry is at right now? Are we more focused on creating intentional student-only spaces, or are we more focused on integrating students into the, I keep saying big church,
That's why I say the same thing.
which is so funny that like stuck.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know what to call it anymore.
But
It's just
everybody like knows what you're talking
I know.
about.
So I might as well. I'm leaning in. Okay. So, yeah. So I'm curious. We'll just start the conversation in the easiest place to start it, which is, why did you say what you said? Why are you like, heck yeah, I'm super passionate about intentional student only spaces?
Yeah, I picked intentional student space only, or not only, but because it's just a welcoming place. And it's something that I've been working on recently. We've had the room. I've been the youth pastor here for 7 years, and we've always had 2 specific student rooms. One is kind of like our open gym area, play basketball, kick the balls, don't worry if we put a hole in the wall, something like that. And then we have our youth room where I do the lesson. We used to have a worship band, and both areas have been great. And both areas are places that the students feel familiar with and can kind of set up their own way. So they just feel more comfortable. But here's recently our youth room where I do my lessons. I've kind of set it up as the stage as a lounge. So I got couches, beanbags, TVs, and then let them decorate it. Like, one of the funniest things I did was I had them clean the whole room, but I told them if they clean it, they can decorate it the way they want to. So they were like super happy to clean, as long as they get to decorate. And honestly, it's a win for me because I don't know how to decorate anything. My wife doesn't let me touch anything at home. But yeah, so they get to come here. They get to be like, okay, this is not only a space where I feel comfortable and feel like I can invite my friends, but it's something that I feel like is personable to me because they've had touches into it, into setting things up, and personalizing it the way they want to do it.
So the ownership piece, I think, is like kind of a big deal that I honestly hadn't really thought about. Is like, if you have a student only space, you can give students a bit more ownership about not only the physical, we can talk more about the physical space, but more like what happens there, like student centric programming. Have you had do you have kind of a core group of students who you feel like have been able to hit their stride like within that space and be like, have you seen, I guess what I'm asking is, have you seen some like leadership kind of naturally rise to the top since you have all these kids kind of meeting in one place all the time together?
Yeah, definitely. I know specifically when we break off into small groups, my female adult leaders have let me know that they actually go on stage now, sit on the couch, kind of get on the beanbags, and they feel like the students open up more. They just feel a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more relaxed. It's not like hey, we're all in a circle on a chair, share your, darkest secrets. It's, hey, we're all here, we're all chilling, and they just naturally open up. On Sunday mornings, I've noticed it where even sometimes if it's not a lot of us here on a Sunday morning, a lot of them will be like, can we do the lesson on stage where the couches are? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So I could tell that they want it. And they just feel more comfortable. It feels less organized, which organized isn't bad, but sometimes you get some of those best conversations when that little organization is not there as much.
When you're able to let your guard down a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So, so I want to talk about a couple of the pieces of pushback, I guess, that I would feel like somebody would have to this, and have some pretty extensive conversations about them, because I know these are things that you care about. And so I want to make sure that we flesh this out a little bit. The first is, I think a lot of people want to push students into adult ministry spaces, big church, so to speak, in order to have them create a spiritual connection with their families. And two would be, I want to give students a chance to serve, which I can do easier by stripping away some of the student ministry programming and pushing them to get involved in what happens here on a Sunday morning or a Wednesday night. So yeah, I don't know where we want to start with that, if one of those kind of jumps out to you or the other, but those are things that I kind of want to hit on, because those are that's the counter argument to all of this. And I want to just talk through that a little bit.
No, I agree with both those things. So we actually go into big church the last Sunday of every month. Because I do agree that even though this is super important to have their own specific room, I do think it's still my part to introduce them to big church. I know we keep using that language, but because once they graduate from high school, they don't have this anymore. So we try to get them familiar with being in there. But we've tried both ends, where it's just like, hey, we're not going to have, for a whole month we didn't have youth group, and we just threw them in there, and it almost felt forced. They didn't really like it. They were already coming in there with bad attitudes, because it's like, why don't we have youth group? So then when we stripped it down to one Sunday a month, I feel like they already knew it was coming. They were mentally prepared. They were fine with it. There's always going to be some kids that try to sneak into the youth room. I had to open it up, and there's somebody just chilling in here, and I had to kick them back out. But it is important to introduce them to go in there, though, whether it's for family time or just even to get familiar with listening to, the head pastor. I feel like if they go here, they should definitely be familiar with who the head pastor is, his sermons, all those things. So it is important on that end. And then the volunteering part is, I also try to have them volunteer at least once every other month. Try to get them plugged into tech booth, to the childcare, because the middle school and high school are the only ones that go into big church for the last Sunday of the month. Other than that, it's the fifth Sunday for our church. So on the fifth Sunday of every month, which only falls 3 or 4 times a year, all our kid programs are shut down, and everybody, the whole thing is everybody go sit in there with your family, and stuff like that. And then, did I answer both of them right there? Or did?
Yeah, no, you did. I just sounded like you were going to say something else, but.
And just to add to the volunteer part, as much as I love to volunteer, I do try to spread it out, because one time we had students that were volunteering all the time, and I realized that the specific students that were doing that, they didn't invite their friends as much, or they didn't come with other people, because it was kind of hard for them to invite people when they were running the tech booth or when they were doing stuff like that. So I did notice that if they chose to volunteer every single time instead of switching it up a little bit.
Tito, I'm curious now, I've heard you talking, how how do you run like programming through the year? So it sounds like you have Sunday morning programming for students. What else does your programming kind of look like throughout the year?
So we have our typical Sunday morning, which is junior or high school students first service at 9, and then our middle school students at second service during 11 o'clock. And then Wednesday night is both middle school and high school together, but we do split off for small groups and stuff like that. Then we split off between high school girls, high school guys. And
So is your Wednesday night programming, are students the only ones like coming to church that night, or does the adult programming and things like that?
No, it's just our students on Wednesdays.
Got it. So you've got like that student only space Wednesday night where it's like, hey, this is our thing. Like this is youth group. And then on Sunday mornings, you're talking through like, hey, we can plug you in a few Sundays to volunteer to go to big church and not just have, I'm guessing. So Wednesday night too is like classic youth group.
True. Yeah.
And then Sunday morning is like Bible study focus type of thing.
Yeah.
Cool. Mm-hmm.
So a lot of churches, I do kind of want to talk about the physical space a little bit more, because I feel like a lot of churches that are the size of Lakeshore are not often able to like have the flexibility with their space that you guys have had, and are not often able to like set aside a spot and be like, yo, this is junior high and high school. This is a place that they have ownership of. This is a place where they can feel comfortable. Was that something I just want to know if that was something that you like inherited at Lakeshore? And I know you grew up at Lakeshore too, right? So maybe you remember a time when this wasn't true, but like, is that something that you inherited, or is that something that you had to like fight for a little bit and be?
No. Yeah, definitely inherited. We've been blessed with that. The room would be used for some other stuff once in a while or something like that, but it never to where it interferes with the way we can set things up or with me using my space. But luckily it's always been like that. We've inherited it. So, and they've been pretty good with letting me kind of do what I want in here and, let the students do things. And so as long as we don't burn the building down.
Yeah, there you go. Tito, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. Is there a way that you would encourage somebody who doesn't have like a dedicated youth group space? Hey, here's maybe a way that you can, because I feel like one of the benefits, just hearing you talk, is you talked about like, hey, we're going to clean this room, but then you get to decorate this room all your own. But they feel a sense of ownership. And I think that there's just something to like your church home where when you are there, like when you really feel a part of your church, like you're like, this is an extension of my home. Like I know the people here. And I want to take care of it. I want to like, I care, or I have buy-in, like you mentioned, ownership. I care about this thing. How would you encourage somebody who'd like, maybe they don't have a dedicated youth space to like still cultivate that a little bit within their students at their church?
Yeah. So trying to think of it. So like if they don't have a room, like what can they do instead of that? Or
Yeah. How would you help them still feel like they, are a part of the ownership in the space in their church?
I think just letting them have, even if you don't have your own room, I feel like when they have input, whether it's one thing that I did set up this school year really well is at the end of last school year, I kind of did like a survey of like, what are some things you want to learn? What are some things you want to add? What are some things you want to take away? And they really enjoyed that. So I kind of gave them their time to do that. No pressure. I was like, you don't have to put your name on. If you like this Wednesday night sucks, I don't like the speaker, which is me, like do whatever you want. Just, I want to be able to be here for you. So I think when you do stuff like that, even if you don't have a specific room, if you feel like you're giving them a voice, where they feel like they can add something to the youth group, they really enjoy that.
Yeah, it's a good shout.
Has there ever been anything on there that like surprised you that ended up being like a really, really good idea? And it's like someone asked for this and I was like, oh dang, I got to actually do that. That's awesome.
So I've recently just started doing it like the last 2 years. Nothing crazy. It has been great though. Like it's definitely set up this school year really well. But yeah, surprisingly, especially with some of the students I have, nothing crazy or nothing even negative, like nothing even too negative. Even when they were being a little negative, they're like, no, we still like it, but this could be better or this and that. So
that's fine.
It's like you gave them agency and they're giving you like actual good feedback.
Yeah.
It's like,
so it's,
hey, I entrusted you with this and you came through. That's awesome.
Yeah. But also like sometimes it's not even like I'm thinking about every year our boss, Jason French, president of this organization, sits down with every single employee here. And it's like, just ask him, hey, how is working here? And he wants to hear from all of us about that. And I very rarely go in there, maybe never have gone in there with anything like a major that I'm like, this has to change right now or I'm going to come unglued. You know what I mean? But you go in there and you're like, hey, it would be nice if whatever, this kind of thing or whatever. But it's not even that, like, I'm kind of manipulating myself a little bit here, but it's not even that he's like taking my feedback and implementing it. It's just that, like, hey, the president of this organization is making time to hear what I have to say. Like, there's something just different about the psychology of that I think is also really important for students, where it's like, they don't want to go to another place where they like walk into a classroom and it's set up exactly how the teacher wants it to be set up, and they go home and they have to keep their room clean and whatever, and can't paint the walls the color that they want to paint the walls because they're those kinds of things. But like, just saying like, hey, you can have some input in this, whether or not the input is actually even that, earth shattering.
Yeah.
It's still just like a really good thing. I feel like, I don't know.
Yeah. And like you said, we're not always going to do what they ask, but it does help to listen. And then when you do something that they maybe put on the list, I mean, that's super impactful. They're like, oh, I gave that suggestion. Like, they listen. It's not just another, oh, just write something down. It's not going to happen.
I love it. 'Cause it's like, whether you have a space, whether you don't, one of the things to at least consider is like, if you give your students agency, you give them ownership of whatever it is we are doing as a church, meeting at this time or this time, in this space or this space. If I can offer that, then they feel a part of it, and that is a win.
Well, and that can help really cut down on some of the like consumerism that you see with like youth ministry too, where it's like, I go to this church because they put on a program that I really like. I go to this church because I enjoy being here on a Wednesday night. And it becomes less about like what they're offering you and just more about, hey, what am I contributing to this place? How am I making this into a place, not only that I would want to be, but that I would be comfortable, inviting my friends and my family to. It's just a really cool thing. I feel I sidetracked myself, and I've got to think of the question that I was going to ask. My brain hurts. I'm going to be so honest with you guys. I've a massive headache today. Okay, let's talk really quick just about kind of your dreams for this. I know you're talking about how like the physical space, I kind of want to set that aside for a second. I feel like we've had a chance to talk about that quite a bit, but talk more about kind of the spiritual space that you create for students, and you value like intentional programming. Obviously, you have programming that is just for middle school. You have programming that is just for high school. Even the programming that you have that is for middle school and high school together, you're splitting up into small groups that are based on age and gender and whatever else. So I just want to know like how, when you look down the road, it's like, how do I want to continue to lean into this idea that I'm creating spaces that are intentionally like for these students?
Yeah, along with those, space, like the intentional part. When first thing I think about when we keep talking about like the intentional program, intentional spaces, whatever it is the adult leaders I bring with me. That's kind of been my big goal that I have, is because one way I like to minister is I think about how I was impacted when I was in middle school and high school. And a big way of that was not only my youth pastor, but the adult leaders that I had around me. They just poured so much into my life outside of a Wednesday and Sunday. So I try to do that. If I can encourage my adult leaders to go to a volleyball game, to go to a soccer game, to go to all these things and make it to where my ministry is beyond the building, beyond the physical space, and beyond a Wednesday night and a Sunday morning, then, that's a win. They remember those moments. I love my youth pastor, but I can't tell you a single sermon that he did when I was in middle school and high school. But I can tell you the countless of stories and memories where they were there for me, where they were pouring into me, where they picked me up because I didn't have a ride to school, or thousands of stories that I can share. And they still stick with me to this day. So I'm trying to do that for our students as well. And that, I can't do that by myself. So it's awesome to have those great volunteers and adult leaders with me to be able to help me out in that end.
Well, yeah. And like all of those places that you're asking them to go are also places that are like intentionally created for them. It's like, we're going to your high school soccer game, or we're going to this show choir concert or whatever. Show choir is such a big deal here. It's crazy.
That's interesting.
So Lauren, were you in show choir? Producer Lauren, not in show choir. Fun fact. But anyway, like, yeah, those spaces are intentionally designed for students. And I think not only, like, that's an interesting aspect of this, is we're not only inviting students into a space that we've created intentionally for them, but also the places that they kind of naturally find themselves, we are willing to go into, which it's like, what other reason would there be for a 35-year-old man to go to a Webb City High School soccer game? Not any great ones, probably. But the fact that I like love these kids and I'm willing to go and do that or whatever. So yeah, that's really neat, man.
Yeah, Tito, I like that. I mean, you hit on something that, or you said this and it made me think, where you're like, the things that I remember when I was a student were not any of the sermons that my youth pastor preached, but all these other asides, right? It's like picking me up, those things. And I was like, just for a minute, I was like, do I remember? And I was like, no shot do I remember anything that maybe one sermon I could pick out, of 100 or so. But the things that I do remember are like the conversations at what we used to call like fourth meal after youth group. And I feel like one of the things you're touching on is, and you kind of said this earlier, it's like, not that organization is bad, but like we need a little bit of unstructure. And that's kind of what they want. They want the comfortability to just like let their hair down. And it's like, sometimes in those unstructured moments where it's like, we're just getting a meal, we're doing that, is like the most intentional student space there can be when I'm meeting them where they're at their game, at their school. Having a small group over, like, I feel like, those volunteers that just like plug in and just jump right into like, I'm just a part of your life. Like, I'll be at your things, really make a lot of headway in relationships, I feel like, with students, because it's like, I'm going to enter into your space that is maybe disorganized and unstructured and not just youth group. So I like how much you've hit on that aspect of like, sometimes this is just what it looks like for us in our ministry.
Yeah. I think it is kind of an interesting thing to think about. Like, when we talk about integrating students into like big church, I drive myself crazy every time I say it, but integrating students kind of into that adult programming, I think what we're saying is, hey, we want you to know what it is like to be a part of this congregation as a whole, so that when you get to the next phase of life, this is something that feels familiar to you. But within that, there is a lot of structure. Like, what we're asking them to do is like, hey, you're going to go volunteer in this kindergarten room, and you're going to do this lesson plan with this teacher and this kind of thing. And then you're going to go to this service and it goes exactly like this. And then, like, there is a lot of rigidity to that I don't think is bad, but I am intrigued by this idea that it's just like, hey, when we have our own space, we don't have to play by all those rules. We can just kind of, to use Logan's expression, let our hair down and dive into this. So I'm wondering though, you talk about once a month we're doing this, we're inviting them into big church. What has it been like for you? You've been here 7 years now. What have you noticed with your students coming out of your program and kind of the ethos, the culture of the program that you have there, and moving on to that next phase of life, moving on to trade school, work, to college? Maybe they stay in Antioch, maybe they go somewhere else. I don't know. But like, how have you seen this kind of like help prepare students for whatever's next?
Yeah, I was actually just thinking about that recently. It's gone okay. It's gone decent. I see a lot of students that when they come back from college, they are going into Sunday service. They're not trying to, I used to have at first some kids would try to linger back. I'm like, no, you're too old. Like, go in there. But now I feel like, and that was before we were going into the services and stuff like that. Now they are pretty familiar with it. They go in there. One thing that I do wish is just seeing more, just for them to join life groups or something like that afterwards. And I know this is probably switching the gear, but just to, sometimes it does seem then it's like, oh, I'm back in college. I'll go in here. I'll listen to the pastor for an hour, and then go back to my day-to-day life. So I've seen, that's why I say it's like 50-50. It's like, I'm glad that they are familiar with it and they're comfortable with going into Sunday service. But what else can they join after that? How can I get them into a life group? How can I get them more connected with people in the congregation other than just, sitting down, listening to the pastor and going back home or going back to college and stuff? I don't know if that answered your question.
Can we answer some of those questions that you just asked there?
Yeah.
How do you do that? Because like the flip side of this argument, I think a lot of that is like built in. Like you're showing them when they're in high school, this is what it looks like to volunteer. This is what it looks like to go to service. This is how you would get plugged into a small group. So you're saying like, well, we still want to make sure that all those things happen. How do we help students who have left our program make that happen? So I'm going to turn that question back on you, if that's okay, and be like, okay, how have you done that?
Yeah, I think so how do we, say the question one more time.
Yeah. At the end of the last thing you said, you were just like kind of listing off this list of questions. Like, how do I help students get plugged into a small group? How do I help students get involved serving? How do I help them want to go to big church? Like, so I want to answer those questions is basically what I'm saying.
Yeah. So, I got you. So just getting them connected with just more people. Like I said, it really does come down to connection, because sometimes we try to solve one issue with like something else. So sometimes we just like, okay, how do we get kids to continue going to big church after they graduate? And then our answer sometimes is just make them go, and they'll get familiar with it. And, but we have to do more than that. We have to, it all comes down just like a Wednesday night and Sunday morning program. It all comes down to connections. So how can we, get them connected with people? That's my job. That's my job. That's my adult leader's job. And one way of doing it is, what I bring up now is like, hey, I'm telling you to take, your small group serious, and I'm going to show you how. And then I tell them about my life group. I tell them how I go to a certain life group on, every Thursday, and how my life group helps me out when I'm down, if I'm sick, if I need prayers. So I just try to, show them that I'm living the life that I'm telling them to do. So just leading by example, I guess, long story short, just leading by example. Also, if I'm seeing like a fellow student that graduated, he's coming in Sunday, but I don't see anything else, that's my job as well, to go talk to him. Go be like, hey, are you, plugged in somewhere? Sometimes we can just be like, oh, they got it, or I'm not their youth pastor anymore, I don't want to smother them. And it's like, no, they're always going to be my students. And it's always going to be my responsibility and other people in the church to guide them, to be like, hey, join my life group, join my Bible study, all these different things. So being intentional again, and just not waiting for them to ask, but for me to go up to them and just start that conversation.
Yeah. I think that's such an important reminder, kind of as we wrap up a little bit here, that, the relationship aspect, no matter where you fall on this spectrum, the relational piece is non-negotiable. And it's like, I think those relationships have to develop no matter which side of it you're on. But the fact that you're saying like you have to be willing to, I don't know, I think for a youth pastor, it would be easy to be like, okay, this kid graduated. Now they're no longer my responsibility, especially in bigger churches where it's like a little bit more systematic at times. But saying like, no, if we're going to have age intentional programming for junior high and high school students, then when they get to the next phase, I have to do the work of like helping them figure out what that next phase looks like. So I think that's a really cool thing. Logan, are we leaving anything on the table before I wrap up here? You got anything in your brain that you got to get out? If not, it's okay. I thought I'd give you one last chance.
Yeah, I got one more thing. I was thinking about this.
All right.
This was so as a parent,
Ooh.
I've one of the big thing we're discussing is fighting that like line of how do I get, I want my daughter to be a part of the programming that is going on specifically for her at our church. However, I don't want her to miss out on like our collective church gathering that I do feel like is important. And I want her to like, I think one of the things we can get worried about at times is like that we haven't prepared a student to like get to big church. We keep saying it. I'm just going to say it, that we haven't prepared a student to get to big church. Right. So I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm a live in the gray person on a lot of different things. And so like, it feels like it lives in the gray. Like, how do we strike the balance of they go to their stuff because that's important, but they're also a part of big church because that's important.
Yeah.
But like, how, Tito, do you talk to parents, about that line of, it's important for them to be here, but it's also important for them to maybe be a part of big church. How do you address that with parents?
Yeah, I love that we have 2 services. Sometimes the parents don't like this part, but just saying, hey, first service, come to, high school student, come, drop your kid off, try to plug them into a study that's going on as well Sunday morning. So it's like, hey, the parents, you can stay here with this Bible study that's going on Sunday morning while your student joins me. And then second service as a family, you guys can go into big church together. Because I've had that happen before where they've wanted to stay or, they want to do that together. They want to go in there together, but they do want their students to be in there. And we've opened that up. Some of them are like, I'm not staying 2 services. Just, you got me for 1 hour and you better do the most. But some do enjoy that. Some do, especially when they feel like it, and a lot of it really does come down to the kid. If you get that kid, if you can show, like, if I can get a kid to come in here and see that there's going to be other kids, and set it up and they start saying, hey mom, hey dad, I really want to go in there. A lot of the times, the parent will make that sacrifice to allow their children to come into the youth only space, but then also stay for second service or first, however they do it, and go in as a family as well. So
that's really great. It's one of those things where it's like for parents, it's like you can only give them tools, you can't make a parent use them, but it's not like you've created an environment where you like actually truly can have the best of both worlds, which is great.
Yeah. And just like you said that purpose, like that's all I can do. It's like at the end of the day, if the parent really doesn't want their kid to come in there, it's, there's not much I can do, but my job is to at least give them the resources to have that. And if not to, like, I'll try to send out emails too. It's like, if a student can't join, cause school year starts, people are playing sports. I try to at least give a breakdown of like, hey, this is going to be the topic we're going through. Here's all the verses we're going to go through. Here's this, just to make sure the parents have that. So if they want to go over that with the students, they can, and they won't just be lost if they're out 2 weeks and come in for the 3rd week of the series. So I try my best to give those resources to the parents, but that's all I can do.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, Tito, really appreciate you being with us again. Had you on a couple years ago. It's fun to have you back. Thanks for sharing with us, man. Really appreciate you.
No, man. Thank you for having me. So it's fun. Love you guys. Love everything you guys do, and it's exciting. So
we love you, Tito. Take care.
Good to see you, Tito.
Yeah, you as well. See you guys.
Before we go, hold on. I'm gathering supplies. Sorry, this is not good radio. Before we go, it's time to give Logan a chance to hype up one of his favorite youth pastors by adding them to our sweet little cork board here. So, Logan, I'm going to give you this pin. And
that's sharp.
You can, it'll do some damage.
Okay.
And you can add your buddy, I don't know if it's a guy or a girl, here, and tell us why you chose them.
Okay, I'm going to add, truly, my good friend, Alec Russo.
Oh.
I'm going to pin him right up here to the top.
Nice. Good pinning.
I didn't do... The assignment was to print a small picture.
8.5 by 11 is smaller than other pictures.
Sure.
Smaller than the poster.
I didn't... Yeah, It's taken up quite a bit of the corkboard, but that's okay.
He's got some good holy jeans on in this picture.
Yeah, I picked Alex he's gonna roast me later because I picked a picture from like 2019, and he's gonna be like, "That was so long ago. How dare you?" Yeah. But I loved the hand up preaching photo. So there's a little insight into why I picked the photo. Alec, my good friend, did junior high ministry for a while in the Valley, but is now at a church plant in Phoenix in the Valley called Echoes Church. And so he started there. I'm trying to think, it was earlier this year where he started full time. So he is over students, junior high and high school there. Primarily works with the high school students though, and has a junior high counterpart, but is over both. And just is living church plant life. And so,
which is hard.
Yeah, which is hard, but is doing a killer job. Loving on students there in the Valley at a new place, and so wanted to shout him out. Alec is a great youth pastor because he just has such a welcoming personality. Makes everybody feel like their friend. I definitely feel like I'm his friend. Hope he would call me the same. So we're going to find the relationship on the podcast. Are we friends, Alec? I think we are. No. Alec, I want to shout out. He thinks he's good at golf. He's okay. He's doing it. He's doing okay.
Yeah, he's doing his best.
He's doing his best.
Yeah.
So.
Me too, Alec.
But love that guy. Love what he's doing in Phoenix at Echoes Church. So wanted to shout him out.
Good man. Shout out to Alec. Appreciate you and the work that you were doing in the Valley. Also, special thanks to Logan and to Tito for joining me today. Today's episode was produced by Michael Hester, Lauren Bryan, and myself. 2 weeks from now, we're going to finish this conversation. We're going to talk about big church. We're going to talk about integrating. I got through it. Integrating students into adult spaces with our good friend Jordan Francis. He's great. If you don't want to miss that, be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. We'll see you next time.